Sada ovde u Beogradu imamo brojne kineske izveštače i medije koji bi trebalo da za 1,5 milijardu gledalaca, čitalaca, slušalaca u Kini prenesu šta će važno njihov predsednik danas da kaže u Beogradu. Mi ovde u Beogradu kada govorimo o medijima, govorimo o par stotina ili par hiljada više ili manje gledalaca koje imamo. Tako vam se kreću okviri. U Kini govori se o nekoliko stotina miliona. Te u tom smislu velika privilegija za nas da u ovom užurbanom danu imamo jednog od dopisnika kineske državne televizije CGTN mreže na engleskom jeziku, JIANHUA koji je u Beogradu kao izveštač o ovoj važnoj poseti. Razgovor će ići na engleskom, a ja ću vam prevoditi kako moj uvaženi kolega bude završio svoj deo odgovora na srpski jezik, ukoliko eventualno ne možete pratiti na engleskom. Dakle, u centru Beograda kao izveštač CGTN mreže. Lee, good morning and welcome. We wish you a nice day here in Belgrade. Would you be so kind to analyze the importance of the visit of the Chinese president to Serbia?
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. So it's considered a very important visit to Europe. So now the President Xi Jinping is still in France at this point, and he is expected to arrive in Serbia tonight, and he's going to stay in Serbia for 2 days or 1 day, a day and a half, and after that he's going to go to Hungary. So it's been 5 years since the President Xi Jinping visited Europe. Of course, last time when President Xi Jinping visited Serbia, particularly, was in 2016. So we do see that China is giving Europe more attention at this point. When it comes to Serbia, we know that the friendship between China and Serbia has been described as ironclad friendship, and there has been strong historic connection between China and Serbia. And of course, we're expecting that there will be more agreements to be signed under the framework of the free trade agreements that signed between China and Serbia last year. So we're expecting it to come into force. And there are also so many projects that China has invested in the country, in Serbia. So we're expecting that there would be more fruitful outcomes in this upcoming visit.
Okay, just let me translate it for our viewers. Dakle, Lee JIANHUA, dopisnik kineske televizije na engleskom jeziku, kaže da je očigledno da je kineska diplomatija sada više nego ikada usmerena na Evropu, da je u ovom trenutku kineski predsednik još uvek u Francuskoj, da se njegov dolazak u Beograd očekuje predveče. Posle 5 godina poseta Beogradu, koja je velika šansa za učvršćenje prijateljstva i dobrih odnosa dve zemlje, i nada se naš sagovornik da bi trebalo da budu dobri plodovi ovih današnjih susreta i razgovora. Baš u tom smislu biće nam važno da čujemo koje su teme na dnevnom redu. Which topics do you expect to be on the table during this visit? We are hoping to achieve more, I mean Serbia, Serbian citizens and media, achieve more on the trade part of the deal, but also expect China to still support Serbian view and attitude regarding Kosovo.
Yeah, you're right. When it comes to trade, this can be one of the biggest topics in the upcoming visit. The trade volume between China and Serbia now has surpassed $6 billion. But in 2016, when President Xi Jinping visited Serbia last time, it was only around $600 million. So we do see that the trade volume, bilateral trade ties, have increased massively over the past years. So I talked to the Chinese ambassador to Serbia 2 days ago, and he said that he is expecting there will be more fruitful results and there will be more agreements to be signed, but at this point we don't know yet. We don't know what specific agreements will be signed, and we have to see what will happen in the next 2 days. But when it comes to the free trade agreement, several of the sectors will benefit from the upcoming visit, including automotive, technology, agriculture and commodities. And also both sides aim to eliminate tariffs on a significant portion of goods. And we President Vučić said earlier that before the visit that Serbia will seek further Chinese investment, particularly when it comes to advanced technologies.
Dakle, trgovina se očekuje da bude glavna tema razgovora danas. JIANHUA kaže da je pre 5 godina, kada je bio ovde u poseti poslednji put Xi Jinping, trgovinska razmena bila oko $600 miliona, zvanično, to je sada 10 puta više, dakle masivno povećanje, čak 6 milijardi američkih dolara u ovom trenutku, ali može da ide mnogo više zapravo ta projekcija za budućnost. Najznačajniji od mnogih sporazuma koji će biti potpisani odnose se recimo na autoindustriju i na poljoprivredu, ali i na visoke tehnologije. Tako da ćemo pratiti ta 2 ili 3 sektora i ono što je posebno za nas važno, nove kineske investicije u Srbiju. Regarding political questions, I asked you about Kosovo. China is not announcing any change of its decisions regarding supporting Serbia?
You're right. Sorry, I forgot the second part of the question. So about Kosovo, and China's stance has been consistent, and we know that both sides have said that they're going to support each other because both countries have shared quite similar historical experiences. So China would like to support the Kosovo question. Likewise, Serbia would like to support the One China principle, and Taiwan is part of China. So it is mutual and reciprocal. We can see that from the official statements on both sides of the government.
Dakle, što se Kosova tiče, ne očekuje se nikakva promjena, niti je najavljena bilo kakva promjena kineskog stava i to je dvosmerna ulica, odnosno uzajamna podrška. Mi podržavamo jedinstvo Kine u vezi sa pitanjem Tajvana, a kineska država će i dalje podržavati suverenitet Srbije kada je reč o autonomnoj pokrajini Kosovo i Metohija. Li, so far, could we say that China and Serbia have close, friendly relations?
Yeah, definitely, we can say that. And we know that Chinese President Xi Jinping has written an article and published on Politica, local media in Serbia already this morning. And our correspondent on the ground has done a story about that. So we do see that the relationship between China and Serbia, as I said just now, has been described as ironclad friend. We know that the two countries' relations can trace back to the 1950s, and fast forward to 2009, the two sides signed the strategic partnership, and in 2016, when President Xi Jinping last visited the country, a comprehensive strategic partnership was signed, and Xi Jinping emphasized the enduring ironclad friendship in February 2022. And we do see there are a lot of and frequent high-level exchanges between these two countries. And last year, in October 2023, when President Vučić was in Beijing, the free trade agreement was signed. So we do see that both countries' relationship has been on the right trajectory and very positive.
Dakle, pitala sam naše kolegu da li bismo mogli da kažemo da su Kina i Srbija prijatelji. On kaže da, apsolutno, što dokazuje i autorski tekst kineskog predsjednika danas za Politiku i da je to prava definicija, dakle, prijatelji našeg odnosa uz sve ostalo što to prati kada govorimo i o trgovinskoj razmeni i o političkim pitanjima, te da je to potvrđeno i kada je prošle godine naš predsjednik bio u poseti Kini. Mi smo vrlo često skloni da stvari rešavamo, ja verujem da i to naš sagovornik zna, pomalo emotivno, pa volimo da svrstavamo sebe na istok ili na zapad, ali je jedna od ključnih poruka juče bila kineskog predsjednika u Parizu da Evropska unija ostaje ključni partner za Kinu. So, Lee, I guess that you have already noticed that we Serbs are a bit emotional when it comes to politics and diplomacy, and we like to put things very strictly on East or West. Yesterday, President Xi said in Paris that European Union is actually key partner for China. So, what is the main message coming from Paris yesterday and today?
Yes, so the first stop is Paris, the second is Serbia, and the last stop is Hungary, as I said just now. So the first stop is Paris, and China would like to reposition, or would like to say, quoted, mend its ties with Europe. And after COVID-19, we do see that Europe and China are very important partners. And we see that the EU, China is the EU's biggest partner when it comes to trade. And the European Union is China's second largest trade partner. And we do see that there is a lot of trade going on, despite some trade tensions and also some political tensions that we can see over the past few years. So the President Xi's trip to Paris, and so he said that China always views its relations with the EU from a strategic and long-term perspective, and the two sides should make good preparations for the high-level dialogues in strategic, economic, trade, green, and digital fields. And we do see that President Xi Jinping has listed all of these following fields that both parties can find some consensus, especially economic and trade. As I said, they are very, very important trade partners in the world. And green transition and climate change is a big problem, and France and China can find some consensus in this point. And it is also important, according to President Xi, to make good use of China's visa exemption policy for European countries and relevant arrangements to facilitate travel for foreign visitors. This year and the end of last year, China has rolled out visa-free policy for over 10 European countries to strengthen people-to-people exchanges. And also, this year is the 60th anniversary of China-France diplomatic ties. So President Xi and China would like to take this opportunity to reposition itself in Europe and also in Central and Eastern Europe. So the so-called problem, President Xi also addressed some of the concerns. And we know that there has to be some accusation against China of overcapacity. And he said the so-called problem of China's overcapacity does not exist either from the perspective of comparative advantage or in the light of global demand, especially that the EU at this point is having its anti-subsidy investigation into China's EVs. Of course, China also has the tit-for-tat measures by looking into the over-dumping of French brandy, some of their wines. And also when it comes to Ukraine and Middle East crisis, those are also on top of the agenda. And the EU and Europe in general would like to get China over to help solve the problem. Of course, China's stance has been diplomatic solutions to all the conflicts, either in Europe or in the Middle East. Especially now, the Middle East crisis is quite severe, and China's influence in the Middle East has been increasing. We can see that in 2023, China was the mediator between Saudi Arabia and Iran. So Europe also hopes that China could help solve some of the problems and help to achieve the stability of the international order.
Probably we are both thinking about Ukraine and even Israel. Dakle, samo ću kratko da prevedem kakva je bila poruka ta koju je predsjednik Xi jučer rekao u Parizu, da Evropska unija ostaje ključni partner Kine. Najveću trgovinsku razmenu Evropska unija ima sa Kinom. Za Kinu je Evropska unija na drugom mestu ako se govori o trgovinskoj razmeni. I te tri tačke, Pariz, pa Beograd, pa Budimpešta, jasno pokažu strategiju da se ponovo uspostavljaju pozicije Kine u Evropi, kako sa Evropskom unijom, tako i u centralnoj i u istočnoj Evropi. I svetski uticaj, kada govorimo o kineskim potencijalima, a ona je u plusu u trgovini sa apsolutno svim svojim partnerima, se ogleda i kroz politiku, jer je Kina prošle godine bila medijator, posrednik između Saudijske Arabije i Irana. I ukratko samo za kraj, u jednoj rečenici sa koliko kapaciteta kineski mediji pokrivaju ovu posetu Beogradu. So just for the end, shortly, with which capacities are Chinese media covering this visit, this tour of President Xi?
So we're looking at the state visits of President Xi. So usually President Xi will be on the news all through the next few days. It is a very important visit to Europe and also the first trip, overseas trip for President Xi Jinping in 2024 this year, and also the first trip to Europe in 5 years. So it is considered very important. When it comes to Belgrade, as I said, this is ironclad friendship, and according to the government officials and Chinese authorities and the Serbian authorities. And in Chinese media, the most important thing on top of the agenda during President Xi Jinping's visit to Belgrade to Serbia, that is trade. As we said, I think that is very important on both sides. And the trade volume is around $6 billion US, or in China, it is over $4 billion US. But depending on how you tally it, depending on the statistics. But all in all, trade has been growing really fast between China and Serbia. Of course, there is a lot of room to improve. There will be more to come. And in Chinese media, also, we know there are so many Chinese projects in Serbia at this point. And 3 days ago, I rode the train from Belgrade to Novi Sad on the railway that was constructed by China to experience what was this like, and also some other projects that most of the Chinese people know, and also on Chinese media, including social media, that is the Smedereva steel mill. And President Xi Jinping, before his visit, wrote a letter to staff of that steel mill. And of course, there are some other very important projects. Zijin Mining Group said that it would invest nearly $4 billion US in the copper gold projects in eastern Serbia, and also Linglong Tire is also here, and the iconic Pupin Bridge is also quite well known in China too. It was opened in 2014, though it was 10 years ago. It became the second bridge over the Danube River in Belgrade. It was also nicknamed as the China Bridge. So there is a lot going on Chinese social media at this point, and also official media, including CGTN and the CMG. So it is a lot of coverage of President Xi Jinping's visit to Serbia, and he's expected to arrive tonight. And tomorrow he's going to attend some of the ceremonies and also some of the events that will be hosted by President Vučić. And we're expecting there will be more to come, hopefully more agreements.
Compliments for your English, seriously. And I wish you all the best during your covering of this important historical visit. Thank you, Li, very much for being part of our morning show.
Thank you very much.
Dakle, samo kratko da prevedemo, jedan od glavnih dopisnika kineske državne televizije na engleskom jeziku, JIANHUA, rekao je za Studio B da kada govorimo o poseti, ono posljednje što sam ga pitala, kako pokrivaju kineski mediji ovu posetu, da je izuzetno propraćena i u zvaničnim medijima i na društvenim mrežama, ali kroz konkretne priče, da je on lično putovao vozom Soko, tu prugu pravili su delimično Kinezi, da se izveštava o Pupinovom mostu, o Smederevskoj železari, u kojoj će biti uloženo još novca. Lično je predsjednik Xi pisao tamošnjim šefovima i stafu, dakle ljudima koji rade. Zijin korporacija i nova ulaganja u rudarske projekte na istoku Srbije su također neki od projekata koji se vrlo konkretno prate. Dakle, nema nekih poruka koje se gube u magli, nego sasvim konkretno Kinezi prate ono što se dešava u Srbiji, a da je njihovo ulaganje i njihov interes. Za minut i po pričamo o tome ko zapravo jeste kineski predsjednik. Ja još uvek nemam odgovor na pitanje. Čuli ste više puta od Li Jinhua da uveče dolazi predsjednik Kine u Srbiju. Dakle, nemamo raspored, bezbednosni su razlozi u pitanju, pa vas samo molimo za strpljenje kada budu zatvarane ulice da imate u vidu da će to biti vrlo kratko jer kolone brzo prolaze.